Well, hi folks, today I'm just going to make a few of these little pierced candle holders. These haven't been fired yet or glazed, so I haven't got any to show you finished, but that's the idea anyway. So I'll just show you how we make those, how we pierce them, turn them, trim them, and everything involved. So they're a very, very simple pot. A small piece of clay, I'm not sure what weight it is, probably about ½ pound. You can make them really quickly. The idea is to get them as thin as you can. Then when you pierce them, you're piercing quite thin clay. So it's, like I said, a very simple pot. Trying to get it as thin as you can. Very basic shape like that. So I'll leave these to dry out till tomorrow. Don't want to let them dry out too much. They want to be sort of as hard cheese, or a bit harder than what people usually call leather hard. If they're too soft you can't cut them out, and if they're too hard then they just crack, so you get the hang of how hard you need to leave them until they're ready to do. So I'll just do another quick one, and then I'll show you how we pierce them and carve them out and stuff like that. Do any shape, little pot like this, and cut it out. Little bowl shape. They're not the nicest shape actually, this, but because they've got quite a straight side, it's easier to carve a design in. The more curved they get, the more difficult it becomes. So again, as thin as I can get it, that's dead thin really. And again, just a little basic little pot. Just big enough to put a candle in. That's a couple of those done. So that's the pot dry now, drying overnight. It's about leather hard cheese hard. So I'm just going to do some very simple trimming, nothing special at all, just do it on the back, a couple of little grooves in there, make it a little bit thinner. And then the only guides I'm going to put in for the piercing, just going to make a couple of little scratches with my finger, just so I can gauge the top and the bottom. A little bit of colour on it, cobalt split, and that's ready to start to pierce now. Just put my little stamp on, and that's ready to pierce. Well, hi folks, I've turned my pot now, trimmed it. All I've done is put a couple of little guidelines in with my finger as it's spinning round, which will give me the top and the bottom of the things I'm going to cut out. So I'm just going to use my little trusty tool, which is just a hacksaw blade, cut off really, so it's really thin and really sharp. And we're just going to have a give it a go. I don't know how well it'll look in the camera, because it's, no matter what angle you use, you never get the whole picture. So I'm just going to do just a basic pattern, which is just going to be some shapes like that. I'll do a whole row of those, and then in the gaps in between I'll then pierce another shape out, and hopefully it should be quite a fine design. So the clay is probably about as hard cheese. As you can see, it cuts quite cleanly, but it's not too hard to cut and it's not too soft. You sort of just get the hang of it, how hard it needs to be. So I'm just going to go all the way around, just pushing all the bits into the middle of the pot. Try any sort of design, just try and find some that fit together. So I'm getting round to the other side, and luckily they match. When you're getting a bit further away, you can sort of judge it just to get them to fit in, but luckily this time they fit just right. So that's the first one. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut out in between each one now. That's just where it gets a little bit trickier, because obviously it's a bit more delicate. So once you get the hang of it, it's quite easy. You can, like I said, you can do any sort of shapes you like. Just got to really throw your pot as thin as you can. Otherwise, if you're trying to cut out thick clay, it just doesn't seem to work, and it looks chunky, and that's when you tend to get sort of rough bits when you're cutting it out. If you keep it nice and thin, it should be all right. So I've got about 3 or 4 to do now, and that'll be that finished. It's only taken 2 or 3 minutes. I used to do big ones with loads and loads of cuts, but the thing is, if you make a mess of one of them, that's the whole pot ruined. But at least with these, if you do make a mess, it's only a couple of minutes of work ruined. So the last one, don't want to mess it up now, like I said, otherwise it's a couple of minutes work down the drain. You can probably see it moving because it's not got a lot of strength anymore. So that's that, done now, all cut out. Like I said, you can do any sort of design you like, but that's the design I tend to use quite a lot because it's quite simple and effective. Just put your candle in there, let the light shine through, and that's it.